freaking game is wrecking my life.
Welcome back to Matchday Matinee, where every week we combine our love of football and films to dive into the cinematic takes on the beautiful game.
My name is Raghav, and I'm joined by Mark and Adam. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself, Mark?
Doing good. Big welcome to everyone that's joining us today on Matchday Matinee.
Excellent. So what's new? What video games are you guys playing?
Hell of a lot of Football Manager. One of those things, the Football Manager takes a lot longer to play a season than it used to. And somehow, now that we've got all this time on our hands, I burnt through a season quicker than I have since like the old Championship Manager days. Gone back to Portsmouth, as always. Because it's out on Game Pass now, so it's free if you have Game Pass on PC, which is pretty cool. And I went back to Portsmouth and led them to the League One title. And I'm doing okay in the Championship, like 5 games in, and I think I've lost once or twice. But yeah, it's kind of cool to feel. It's still fun, right? It's like Ultimate Fantasy. Have your own version of the team, like get rid of the players you hate, bring back the old players that you should never have sold. Look up old, especially when you're a lower league teams, like looking up old players you remember and thinking, oh, they could probably still do a job at this level. I'll sign them and see, and they're never good, but it's still pretty fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, I remember when I was playing it a couple of, I guess about a month ago now. It was, I was saying on the podcast that it feels like a real job. Like you're sat there looking at graphs, looking at bell curves, what the player ceiling is, and I'm like, if there's anything that can prepare a child for a real job, it's Football Manager.
Oh, for sure. Like the attention to detail you need, right? Especially in the modern day versions, and even some of the player dynamic stuff it has, and all how it breaks up all the stuff by like social groups and stuff. It's like, this is exactly what the workplace is like. Like this clicks at work. You know who's in which social group. You know who are the influential people and who are like the also-rans. It's like, yeah, you learn everything you need about like modern office culture right here in Football Manager.
Absolutely.
Do you have to manage like an HR department in that as well?
No, thank God, no. Okay. You get to make all the decisions.
I've never been sucked into the whole Football Manager, so that's a genuinely curious question. Like something I'd imagine.
Yeah, that's missing for now. I guess you do have player relations that you do, but you just get to dictate.
Interesting.
You don't have to have HR manager sat with you.
You do get to delegate as well. So, if you have assistants or first team coaches, it's like team selection. You know what? I'm going to empower you to take care of that. And I'm just going to, chill here and, play around the transfer market.
Delegate, just like real life.
That's it. How about yourself, Mark? What are you playing these days?
I've gone back to FIFA. I've finished up Volta mode a while ago, so now I'm actually started career mode. And I think this is the first FIFA in a while that I've actually done a career mode with. So I am taking Pozuelo through a TFC season because I've been missing it that much. But yeah, man, I'm super impressed with like the cutscenes they have now. And like I'd played a bunch of The Journey before this, so I kind of expected it. But yeah, I mean, I'm not one that craves that level of intricacy that you guys are looking for in Football Manager. So this is kind of perfect for me to kind of swap some positions before the match starts and do a little bit of player management. But aside from that, yeah, man, I'm not looking for a second or third job.
Yeah, I think I realized that really quickly as well, that it was very time consuming and that, I was starting to have a second job essentially right after 5 p.m. And so I started playing FIFA as well. And currently I'm doing a career mode as well. It's a rise to glory type. I've taken Portsmouth over in League One, so also Portsmouth in League One. I'm currently in March, sat atop League One, probably going to get promoted, I hope. Hopefully this doesn't jinx it because I'm only 1 point ahead. But yeah, it's going to be fun and, making all of the transfer decisions and just actually watching other people play it on Twitch and YouTube as well. It's giving me some great ideas on how I want to move forward through the career mode. So it's excellent.
Have you guys ever gotten into Ultimate Team?
No.
No, right?
No. Yes.
Yeah.
I think last year was the first year I was like, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore. But there's been a couple of years where I've had a few friends that were really into it. And it was one of those things. I moved here. It was a good way to keep in touch with friends from back home. But then I did find that like keeping up with everybody, like every payday, why am I dropping money on packs of fucking cards?
But you build your team in one version and then FIFA 20 comes out. Do you have to rebuild your team again?
Yep. Yep. The only thing that transfer over are the points that you've bought. You can't transfer coins over or nothing. So
Player cards or anything?
Nothing.
That's insane.
So that's where it started to get like, one year I had Messi and stuff, and then I was like, cool, had a great team. Also got some other special cards and put in the time. Like they have like trades and stuff where you can trade for like player of the weeks and stuff. But then, something like snapped like 2 years ago, and I was just like, I ain't doing this anymore. So like last year's FIFA, I basically played the journey and just like regular multiplayer. And then this year, FIFA 20, I've touched Volta, and that's pretty much it. Awesome. It's a mugs game. It just, it's pure gambling. And even though they've had to like kind of loosen up how they show you, that's what also happened. I guess the EU kind of pushed them to publish some of the odds of you getting certain cards, and when you realize like the odds of getting like a Messi is like 0.1 or something, it's like, screw this.
It is essentially gambling, which is unbelievable that like they've marketed it to kids without consequence for so many years, and finally, like you're saying, the EU caught up with them and said stop.
It's weird.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys are able to pass the time given the current situation. Hopefully we're coming out of it soon, but enough about video games. Let's get to today's movie.
The crowd is going wild.
Take it easy. You're as tight as a drum.
Just give it a halftime, Colby.
Don't let them pull you off your line.
Today on the Matinee, we're looking at Victory. It's a 1981 war film directed by John Huston about Allied World War II prisoners thrust into the match of their lives against a team of Germans. This film stars Michael Caine as Captain John Colby, Max von Sydow as Major Karl von Steiner, Sylvester Stallone as Captain Robert Hatch, Pelé as Corporal Luis Fernandez, and Bobby Moore as Terry Brady. Music in this film was done by Bill Conti, who you might recognize as doing the scores for Karate Kid and Rocky. This movie has a running time of 117 minutes. It was produced by Paramount Pictures on a budget of $10 million.
So quick synopsis of this film is: a slightly one-note Michael Caine is offered the opportunity to coach a team of fellow prisoners of war against a German 11. Along the way, he enlists the help of a aging Pelé, a rather quick and witty Ozzy Ardiles, a somewhat mute Bobby Moore, and an hilariously inept Sylvester Stallone who plays in goal. Sylvester Stallone also hatches a plan to escape, kind of sneaks out of the shower, uses fake papers to reach France. They drag a mannequin around for a little bit, pretending to be him. Michael Caine along the way feels sorry for some European players in an internment camp, gets them released. The team play the game and get roughed up by the Germans and a biased referee. And by the end of the film, we're left hanging with the question, will the Allied team win after going down 4-1, and can they manage to escape? Pretty much it, without spoiling the very end before we get there.
Excellent. So overall tones of the movie, you guys, what did you think? About the time period that it's set in. It's Nazi Germany, it's under occupation. France is under occupation. And obviously, I believe the prisoner camp is actually in Germany. So what'd you guys think?
This is my first time watching this. Adam, you had seen it before?
I had seen it before. It was a long time ago, like almost as a child. Like here's like an entry-level war film that you can watch that's got football. So as a kid, it was kind of like a little bit more accessible. It's not what I remember it being, but then I think that's my childhood. I remember there being more football in it, and I don't remember. It's very slow to start. Like you get that, it opens with a prisoner escaping, and you see him getting shot dead. And it kind of shows like the stakes. I
think they did that for a very specific reason. I know, Regev, you're going to touch on this. The Nazi soldiers that guarded the camp were far too friendly for this film.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, some of the things in this movie seemed really weird for me from a prisoner of war camp. Like they're extremely friendly to the prisoners of wars, and those prisoners essentially have access to like suits, cameras, everything. Like it doesn't seem like a prison. It seems like a day camp.
Some of that stuff was hidden, right? Like the camera was hidden up in the rafters, I think, and they whipped that down.
I guess, but they were given their own
somewhere.
They were given their own office to just operate with without supervision whatsoever.
Exactly. For sure.
And they're fully hatching plans to escape and do things at the beginning of the movie. Like I mean, I don't think the Germans were that nice, to be quite honest.
So it's really weird, right? Because it starts off with this stark entrance of a guy cutting his way through the fence, and he escapes, and then they don't give him any crap. like any quarters, they just shoot him dead. And then it cuts to this dirty football pitch. And like you said, like Michael Caine plays a former England captain called John Corby, and he's just like waltzing around in his uniform, like happy as Larry, like no problems, like, all right, how's it going? And it's, this is the thing, right? It's weird. A lot of these escape movies, you get the sense, if you would talk about escape movies like The Great Escape, or even go a bit further ahead, like Escape to Alcatraz, or like Shawshank, right? A lot of the stuff feels earned, and there's definitely a feeling of the suffering. But in this, you were writing this in the chat, how they seem too friendly, Ragav. And it's kind of true. Like, the guy comes to Michael Caine, is just like, hey, want to play a game of football? It'll be good for morale. And then he makes all these demands like, yeah, but I need a proper diet, I need proper boots and everything. And they're just like, yeah, sure, okay, go for it. We'll give you all this.
Stallone. Like, Stallone is jacked. He looks like a guy who's getting like proper protein 3 times a day.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Good haircut. The only time you really get a sense of prisoners that are being kept interned is the Eastern European guys that are brought over, and they do appear emaciated and beaten up. So that's kind of like what you would expect, and not the pretty boys who are hanging out at this camp pretty much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, so I don't know if I've seen this movie as a child. Maybe I've seen it in bits and pieces, but the one scene that I remember from when I was a kid is Pelé doing the keep-ups and saying, I'm from Trinidad. And I'm like, why Trinidad? Right? Like,
it's weird. They changed the nationalities of most of the players. Yeah. It's just a really weird thing.
Well, I think it's for political reasons, right? Like, Brazil was part of World War II, but they were allied. Yeah, and it wasn't until later, so they couldn't include Pelé as a Brazilian for that reason.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
It does have like a real world reason for it, yeah.
Sorry, were Brazil part of the Axis powers?
No, allies, right?
They were part of the Allies? Which, like...
They didn't join until pretty late.
Okay,
yeah,
got it.
The US kind of forced them into joining the allies. The introduction of Max von Sydow, where he catches the ball and then they cut to his feet, he does a bunch of keep-ups, and then it cuts back to his head quickly, and it's very obvious that's not him doing it. And then, like you were saying, they introduced Pelé, and he also gets introduced doing keep-ups. So I think that's kind of like a recurring theme. Like, you introduce a new player, and you judge them based on how they can do keep-ups.
Yeah, and then what's it, Pelé? It's kind of funny, right? He introduces himself, and then he's like, oh, yeah, I've been playing soccer since I was in Trinidad doing keep-ups with oranges. And it's like, oh, come on. We know that's not true. We know you did it with mangoes.
Yeah.
We've seen it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a weird thing to change.
Yeah.
See, the other problem I kind of had from the start of this film is Stallone's original escape plan is just not interesting. The way he gets out's kind of lame, I found. He's just like sneak into the roof and kind of roll out. It's no great plan. And then I don't really get why they tried to fake it with I guess it's to buy him time. They have like this mannequin that they pretend is him coming out of the shower. So I guess he reaches France so that he can speak to the Allied troops there, and then they kind of get him to come back, and then he breaks back in, which is another thing that's not believable. They should have shot him by rights if it starts anything to go by.
So the awesome thing is there is actually a huge Canadian connection with this movie, in the sense that he's actually a Canadian soldier in this film, an American-born Canadian soldier or something like that.
And then that's where his experience is not playing American football. His experience is apparently playing like Canadian football.
Right.
That was at that time, like CFL or something.
Yeah.
That's why he destroys that one guy with the tackle.
Exactly.
Yeah. But then
football tackle.
I know we'll get to football later, but what the football scenes way later in the game when he's playing in goal and he's magically just learned how to do slide tackles for everything. Like most of his saves are slide tackles, and it's like, what are you doing? Use your hands. You were told you use your hands.
No, he had a pretty big ego because he was just coming off of Rocky, which he had. Did he win an Oscar for that, or was he just nominated? I think he might have won the Oscar, right?
Rocky definitely did win Best Picture, didn't it?
I think it won for at least screenplay.
Yeah, I don't know if he
might
won.
have.
I'm looking now. No, just nominee. It won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Film Editing. But he was only nominated. Yeah.
So maybe this is though. Sorry, go ahead.
He
came into this with
a pretty big thing.
Yeah, he came to this kind of as the star of it, really. Yeah, because it was an American movie. There's a lot of, you'll probably get to it, but there's a lot of players from Ipswich Town that are players on the Allied team. You have Bobby Moore in this. You have Pelé. But Stallone was kind of the star on this side of the pond, right?
Absolutely. And maybe this is time for fast fact number 1. And without giving away the ending, Stallone came into this movie anticipating to be the hero that does the last action. You know how American movies are. Yeah. He actually wanted to do it, and it took a lot of convincing to have him not. Right. So,
he wanted to score the winning goal.
Exactly. Well, I wasn't going to say it, but
well, it was full spoilers for a 40-year-old movie. He wanted to score the winning goal, and they were like, no, that's like, all the Brits had to convince him, like, no, that's stupid. Like, it does happen, obviously, right? But no, just they made that compromise with him saving a PK from the German team.
Right, of course. Is this a British production, or is this an American production, or is it a mix?
It's a mix, because it's produced by Paramount Pictures, which is an American studio, but they obviously filmed it overseas, and you can tell a lot of the crew on this was British.
Yeah, a lot of the cast and crew for sure.
Did you guys like Stallone's character?
I thought he was kind of annoying.
Kind of annoying. I actually laughed at one scene when he gets the role of trainer. That's how he kind of gets in the team, because he's like, yo, I'm jacked, I can get everybody fit. And when all the players are coming in, and Stone's like, yeah, welcome to holiday camp. And then when they finish the training session, he's like, yeah, don't worry about any injuries, I've got you guys. He's like, if you pull something, I've got you. And then he's like, hey, anal bleeding, it's all good, I'll sort you
I
out.
want you all to know that if you're having any trouble with, say, appendicitis or heart attacks, that's okay. No problem, I can handle that. But listen, I don't want any blisters. No blisters allowed. So if there's anything wrong with any of you guys, tell me now, not later, okay? Little inconveniences, say like anal bleeding, tuberculosis, growing tumors, little inconveniences like that, all right?
So I think he must have ad-libbed that line. Like it wasn't in the script, because I was searching for that line. And I found the original script online, and it wasn't in there. So it was just like Stallone improving, I guess.
And if you look at the team itself, Stallone and Michael Caine are the only actors in the actual squad, because like we mentioned, half of the squad's from Ipswich Town, the actual Ipswich Town squad. And then you have Pelé, you got, what's his face?
Ardiles, Tottenham player.
Bobby Moore, Ardiles. So you got quite a bit of footballers. And fast fact number 2, in fact, is that Stallone and Michael Caine weren't actually that great at football. Michael Caine apparently couldn't even run, right? That
was the other question I had. So when he first meets Max von Sydow's character, Carl von Steiner, he recognizes him as West Ham's captain, and he's saying, oh, it's too bad that the war stopped your career. But by this point, Michael Caine was already like 50 years old, I want to say.
He definitely looks about that old.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know.
He was born in 33 and this movie came out 82. So yeah, he was bordering on 50. So it's kind of funny that like the war stopped your career.
Well, it's like an Indian movie where, you know, the main actor can still be a 55-year-old, you know, kind of with a...
That's like every Tom Cruise movie.
25-year-old opposite lead.
It's interesting, isn't it, how this film takes a different tact to other films. So it has the actors all the way through the film thrusting the story, and then it has the footballers mostly in the background, and then we kind of switches over, doesn't it? Like Michael Caine doesn't really do much of note in the actual game, other than Bobby Moore like yelling at him. And it's just an interesting take, right? Because the footballers for the most part don't act, right? Like Bobby Moore just stands in the background for most of the film, looking super confused as to why he's even there. He nods his head occasionally, but then as soon as the football match starts, he's like alive, like yelling as if it's a real game. And then they have that other guy, one of the players is called John Walk, and he has a line in it, but they dubbed over him and replaced it with a posh Scottish accent, because they said his accent was too like rough and that like North American audiences wouldn't understand what the hell he was saying. So then even one of the players they actually gave a line to, they just cut over it, and it's like just a different take to what we've seen.
Yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of dubbing. Even with Pelé, you could tell he dubbed a few of his lines because it just didn't match his mouth. And then there was a radio announcer at one point where it's clearly much faster than what's coming out of his mouth. So it seems like they did have to, I guess, just for clarity, redub a bunch of lines.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What did you guys think about? So apart from the football, what did you guys actually think about whenever they showed, you know, German officers or any kind of Nazi things in the movie? I thought it was quite cool, actually.
It just seemed too family friendly, to be honest.
Agreed. I guess what I'm trying to say is more from the costume perspective. I think they nailed.
That stuff was nailed.
Yeah.
I think they nailed that.
The stadium at the end, everything looks fantastic.
The city of Paris.
They had to actually use. Is this one of your footy facts about the stadium at the end?
I know you can say it. I don't have to say it.
So the stadium that they had to use was actually from Budapest. It's MTK Budapest, I think the name of the club is, because they needed a stadium that would look like a 40 stadium without floodlights. Yeah. So, I mean, the level to the attention to detail is obviously there, and it's really appreciated. Like, it all looks great. I mean, I'm interested to hear where you guys place this on the table, because they put a lot of care into this movie. It's going to be up there, I think.
I kind of enjoy the way it was shot too, right? Just I don't know what it is about that. I guess the early '80s film that they're using, but I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's one thing. I wonder if it's because of our age, like kind of have a nostalgia for that era of movies, because we grew up watching like 80s movies, or like our parents were watching them and we kind of gravitated towards them. I wonder if you went to somebody else, like they would have the same nostalgia for like 70s style movies or something. But I agree with you. There's a way this is filmed and like the way the story's presented that's like enjoyable.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of early 80s movies you kind of hear of as classics, and then you go back to them and they just have this really plodding pace, because people did have more patience back then.
Right.
But I found with this movie, it kept up really well. Like it did age very well, and it was enjoyable. Like you were saying, there's a lot of great scenes from one to the next.
Yeah. Just going back to that stadium that you just mentioned about the stadium. So the stadium that they're trying to portray is called the Colombes. Is that what it is?
Yes, Stade Colombes. Yeah.
Yeah, Stade Colombes, which was most recently used by a football team in Paris or nearby in Colombes, who I think folded in 2000, or just, they went out of business in 2017. I think it's tenantless now. I don't think anybody actually plays there anymore, because the rugby team also moved out.
That's a shame.
Yeah, so I'm not sure that stadium's actually used these days, and
it looks fairly old too.
Yeah, I don't know what it looks like now, but it was interesting to because I did a quick Google search on the Cologne Stadium and to find out that they actually have no tenants.
Stallone had like a ton of great lines. I'm just looking at like some of the ones I wrote down quickly when he's talking about every time he talks about the match, he's like, "This friggin' game is ruining my life."
Yeah.
Like, never mind that they're in the middle of a war, and then he's escaped at one point, but again he brings it up.
How much did you guys buy that Stallone would have returned? Because he was so focused on his escape plan, and he gets there and they're like, "Well, you've got to go back," and he's just like, "Yeah, okay." And that lady that's kind of like his, I guess, love interest, she's kind of like, "Yeah, you've got to go back, do it."
He tries.
Like,
I buy it more than the entire team saying, "No, let's stay and finish the match instead of running away."
Yeah, the second one, like everybody's down the tunnel and ready to leave, and they're like, "No, let's go finish the match," because we care about football more than we care about our lives. But
and then Pelé gives this he says it so like soft spoken. Yeah. He's like, I suppose we should explain a bit. They kind of escape, and that bit's kind of cool, the way they get into the tunnel. Because they basically drill all the way through and use like everyone's big deep baths that they have in changing rooms and kind of knock through it, and it empties out. And that scene looks super cool when you can see like the water bubbling and stuff. Yeah. And they all get to the point where they follow Sylvester Stallone down this little ladder at halftime, knowing that they've only got like a small window of time. And then they're going down there and everyone's like, "Nah." They scored one goal before halftime, so the score's 4-1. Everyone's like, "We could win this." And Michael Caine's like, "Yeah, we could win this. Look, here, listen, they're all saying we could win this." And then Pelé's like, "Yes, if we run now, we lose more than a game." And then everyone's like, "Right, let's go back." Even Sylvester Stallone, because I guess at that point, they're like, if Stallone goes, then they know they'll all get killed, because
for sure
it'll be pretty obvious what's happened.
Yeah.
So then he kind of is like, "Yeah, okay, we've got to go back."
There's another Canadian connection in this movie. So when Sylvester Stallone, he escapes for the first time, and he's in that pub talking through this whole Paris escape scenario, he meets a girl in the pub who's recently lost her husband to the war. Really good looking woman, by the way. She's from Quebec, Canada. So she's also born and raised Quebec, Canada, and actually was appointed an officer of the Order of Canada in 2013. for her international career as an actress, singer, director, and dancer.
What else was she in? Do you know?
Let's see.
So was she primarily an actress in Europe?
Yeah, it seems like a lot of French cinema. Yeah, actually, mostly all French cinema. She was actually, she has quite a large discography. So she was quite a singer as well.
Oh,
And she most primarily collaborated with Anglophone singer, songwriter, producer Louis Fury. Not sure who that is, but he's a Canadian composer, singer, violinist.
This movie had a lot of star power.
Probably.
Yeah. Really, it's proper like ensemble cast, especially if you count the footballers and stuff, like the large Ipswich contingent who were all pretty famous at the time.
Yeah.
Pretty decent cast.
What, Adam, you may know this. What year did Bobby Moore actually play until? 1981 would have been the tail end of his career, or not even after his career, no?
He would have been like 40 by this point.
Okay,
like,
so
Pelé
he
was
was
like, they were both like Pelé and him are both like 40, 41 at this time.
Yeah.
Everyone was kind of like 20 years or like 15 to 20 years past their prime. Yeah.
So not one current footballer wanted to do this?
Ozzy Ardiles would have probably been current at this time. It's the guy that plays Carlos, the guy that does the cool flick over to score one of the goals.
But I think it would have cut into their preseason as well, right?
Yeah,
like 5 weeks to take that much time off to go film a movie would have been,
I guess.
pretty
I guess
difficult.
it's different. Yeah.
Yeah, like Bobby Moore definitely would have been done by this point.
Yeah.
Like he was at Fulham. I guess he came to the States for a bit, didn't he? But he would have been done at top like level at that.
He was at Seattle Sounders, if I'm not mistaken.
Like the old NASL, obviously.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came for a bit.
So many people in that league.
Jeez, I could have used that as a quiz question.
Yeah, Ozzy Ardiles was playing from I think until like into the 90s, so he would have been younger when they were filming this.
Right.
Like he was at Spurs and stuff.
Nice.
Into the late 80s. So yeah, so I guess he's a footballer in their prime, and then a few of the other background players, and like the goalkeeper who we didn't talk about that. There's a goalkeeper whose arm they break so that they can get Stallone out of Stallone's put in like solitary for escaping and then getting recaptured. And so their actual goalkeeper, they have to break his arm by kicking it under a bed to prove that they need Stallone. But that guy's actually an Ipswich player, but not a goalkeeper. He was a midfielder, I think.
Why didn't they say anything but his arm? It could have been like he broke a pinky, he broke anything.
Or he has a sprained ankle, for God's sake.
Yeah,
like, that's much easier to act out than...
He broke his arm, and then they go tell him, and he's like, oh, all right. I'm going to miss the match, aren't I? And it's like, dude, you're going to break your arm. You'll never be the same.
Yeah, he's like, at least make it clean. And Michael Caine's like, yeah, well, I promise.
I'll try when I stomp it on this unclean bed.
Yeah, it's unclean bed under the, like, whatever, it's the slats under the bed, yeah.
One other thing I actually wanted to touch on that I've been thinking since I watched this movie about an hour and a half ago, the jerseys that both teams walk out with during this match, which is a final match between the Allies and Nazi Germany, I thought both shirts looked super cool.
I wanted to say that, but one of them is literally a Nazi shirt. So
ignoring the fact that it has that's like, symbology on it, it was not a bad looking shirt. And another fast fact, the shirt that the Allies are wearing were actually that design was taken by the Icelandic national team for either Euro 2016 or World Cup 2018, I believe. It
was Euro 2016.
It was Euro 2016. Yeah. So
that
because
the red and blue stripes on one side, right?
Exactly, because they wanted to play up that underdog vibe.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they did very, very well in that Euro.
I was at the match where they wore those.
Awesome.
I think of it. Yeah.
Cool.
Apparently, this movie's a Christmas tradition.
Yeah, which is when I think I would have watched it. I don't know
why.
I would have to look. I don't know quite why this is, but there's also the weird, like, Great Escape, another like Steve McQueen escaping a prisoner of war camp, also a Christmas tradition. I just think a lot of war movies and like the uplifting war movies would always air over Christmas back home. They probably still do. I don't
just
really
feel
know.
good, I guess.
Feel good, like uplifting.
Or people spend so much time with their immediate family that they just want to escape during Christmas time, right?
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of films that are not Christmas films that are kind of like traditional films that you would watch back home, and this is one of them. Yeah.
The funny thing about this movie was, like, I didn't realize it until that girl in Paris showed up, but I think she's literally like the first female you see within the initial hour of this movie, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just guys at the
So
prisoners
true.
camp, and then she shows up, and I'm like, oh yeah, she's literally the first woman to be shown on screen.
No,
here.
there's one more. That lady that he's helping get onto the train.
Oh, true.
I don't know why I just remember that, but I did.
Yeah.
And that's why I watch these movies just before filming or just before recording the podcast.
Stallone is so
helping
good in
her?
this. Yeah.
Or is he pretending to be the dad so he can get on the plane?
No, he's helping the lady, but he's pretending to be French because they're both going to Paris. He's like, mon chéri, right? Like,
He's so good in this. It made me appreciate
she's
like 80s
alright.
era Stallone more. No, man. At the very beginning when he's like, he goes straight at a player when he's dribbling the ball, gets knocked over, and then he runs over to Michael Caine and he's like, did you see that? Did you see that? Did you see how good that was? And then he keeps running after him.
Yeah, he carries on this horrific performance, doesn't he? And then Pele's like, hey, you could be a good goalkeeper. And it's like, what did he do to make you think he could be a good goalkeeper?
Hey. He's American in this movie.
But they take shots at him and it's like he does a few terrible saves. It's just not convincing. He needed to practice more.
That's exactly what they did with Tim Howard, Brad Guzan, Casey Keller. Who am I forgetting? I'm forgetting somebody. Brad Friedel, right?
Yeah.
Craig Forrest, who, if you just want to play the Canadian angle up.
Canadian.
Yeah.
But he does nothing
I know.
to convince. And then even, we'll get into when we talk about footy flicks later, I guess, but even when he's meant to be a good goalkeeper, he still looks terrible.
He's just punching balls out of midair and like...
Yeah, flinging himself. And like I said before, doing slide tackles at players' feet rather than going with his hands first.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a shame, right? And it's weird. They put him in that goalkeeper position, right? Like Michael Caine's lack of football skills, they kind of cover up by him not doing much in the game. But I guess because they put Stallone in goal, they kind
He
of
wanted to
can't
be the
have that.
centerpiece, though. Yeah, he wanted to be the centerpiece of the movie. But,
Yeah, which without him being the star striker, goalie was probably the next place that was going to happen, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah.
Do you guys? Is there a footy fact about Stallone's training?
There is. Do you know it?
I can't remember the player who was going to train him.
He was trained by a goalkeeper, of course.
British.
That was British. Yeah, that was English, I think. What?
He didn't want to accept his help. Do you have it, Adam?
It wasn't Gordon Banks.
It was.
It was Gordon Banks, was it?
I think it was Gordon Banks. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah, he didn't want to accept his help at first, and he was like, "No, it's a stupid sport. It's a sport for fairies and old ladies," as he calls it in the movie. So I think like Stallone had zero appreciation going into it, so he kind of just started throwing himself around. And then after the first like couple weeks, he had a broken rib. He had like broken finger, I want to say. Yeah. So finally, he accepted the help, and then he still did end up breaking a rib while filming this movie. And he said the training for this movie was actually even harder than the training for Rocky.
Of course.
So funny enough, and then he gained an appreciation for football because he became a supporter of. Do you guys know?
Oh, I was literally just thinking he went to Everton.
Everton, yeah. So 2007,
Stallone's a supporter of Everton?
he regrets not buying the club in 2007.
I know. I
supporter.
always knew why that guy rubbed me the wrong way.
It's one of the later Rocky movies, or is it Creed? Is one of the fights
Creed.
happens at Goodison Park?
Yeah.
Is it the first Creed movie? I think.
I don't think it's the first one, is it?
I forget. He fights a guy that's an actual boxer, doesn't he?
No idea.
I can't remember his name. Yeah, it's definitely one of the Creed movies.
That's such a great movie too. Creed 1.
Yeah, they're really
Creed 2
good
was
films.
okay, but Creed 1 was amazing.
I like them both. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely. Yeah, Stallone seems like I think he pulled that off really well from an acting sense as a person from Canada, US, whatever it is, that doesn't really get soccer nor knows how to play it. I think he did a really good job portraying that, and that whole thing about you got to hit him. This is a sissy sport. That kind of notion was all right.
He has a real charisma that I guess the stiff upper British guys don't have.
Yeah,
and it's a good contrast. It works well for the film for him to be that character with that charisma.
Yeah.
Compared to like the officers that are all planning and worried about every little step, and he's just like, "Yeah, let's go."
So, kind of kind of a segue into my next fast fact is that over the last few years, there's actually been talks about remaking Escape to Victory, especially because the US, North America in general, is more open to football, to soccer, with the rise of MLS, with the viewerships you now get from America to the European leagues. There's actually been talks about remaking that movie, so that'll be interesting if that ever happens.
Yeah, they have a director for it. It's Wame Colette Serra.
No idea.
Actually, he did Goal 2.
Oh, yeah?
So there you go. So there's a reference to it. Yeah. Sorry?
He's got pedigree there.
He's got pedigree.
Goal 2 was not bad. It wasn't terrible. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
But he's probably going to explode soon because he's doing the Jungle Cruise movie with The Rock.
Mm.
And then The Rock liked him enough for that to do Black Adam, which is an upcoming DC superhero movie I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
So yeah, he does have some pedigree, and I think he's on the rise a bit. So it'll be nice to see him do the remake. But what's funny about this movie, it's a remake of, it's a Hungarian film, 2 Half Times in Hell. It's a remake of 2 Half Times in Hell. And then this film was remade as The Longest Yard with American football. Then that movie was remade as Mean Machine.
Oh, shit.
Which we'll probably be doing soon. Oh. And then Mean Machine, or Longest Yard, was remade into an American film again. And then now they're going to remake this back as Victory. So
it's full circle.
Games, right?
It's full circle. Life comes at you in a full circle, right? So
Hollywood is brimming with ideas.
Yeah.
The other thing, that 2 Halves in Hell is based on a so-called death match, which we've already seen, sort of. We saw it in United Passions.
Yeah.
When Jules Rimet is like decrying that football's dead and is being used for an instrument of evil, the game they cut to on the war camp is meant to be this so-called death match, which I guess ultimately has been discredited. It didn't actually happen, as it was like a lot of the Ukrainian players that were allegedly killed. Like some of them were killed like years after the fact. Some of them were shot for like other reasons. Which was cool how all these things kind of tie in and retread ideas, right? Like
that was a match that I liked. It had like a very mythical quality to it with the fog and everything. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Kind of like the same one. There's all that one about the German and English players playing on No Man's Land on Christmas Day, right? It's like transcended whatever it actually was, has become more than what it probably was on the actual day of.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's awesome. Just going back to Sylvester Stallone not really knowing football and learning how to play for this movie, obviously, and learning how to play in goal. He actually broke his finger during filming from a shot from Pelé. So to try to stop a goal from Pelé. And the other part I didn't understand, did people just not use gloves back in those days for keepers? They didn't?
No.
What?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
It's noticeable at the end when he's about to save the shot from the German.
Yeah. Damn, no wonder. There must have been a lot of broken fingers in those days.
I can't remember like Gordon Banks and stuff. It wasn't until the end of his career that gloves were like properly introduced. Like they must have been introduced sometime around this, like late 80s or something, or mid 80s. Like even though they existed, they just weren't widely used for whatever reason.
Yeah.
It's right there in front of your face. Just put on a pair of gloves.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is super, super weird. The fact that nobody thought to put that together after God knows how many people probably broke their fingers.
Well, it's like hockey players without
I
helmets,
guess.
right? For how long? Like guys are taking pucks to the face, to the head, blades, sticks to the face, and nobody ever thought to say like, why don't we just wear masks?
Yeah,
I guess it was.
It's too simple. Sometimes when those things are staring you in the face, right? No one thinks
exactly. Well, it's like now with masks, right?
Yeah.
Like going out to the store, it's like just put on a mask. It's easy enough to like stop from getting sick, and people are like, nope,
it's true.
Freedoms.
Also, maybe Peter Cech, who's formerly of Chelsea and Arsenal fame, maybe he had the right idea, and he might be a revolutionary when it comes to goalkeeper protection, right?
The helmet, yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. So the remake that we were just talking about, so these were all stars, players who had retired maybe like 5-10 years earlier, I want to say.
Okay.
Who would you see in the remake?
I was thinking the same thing when we were talking about it. We just never got around to it.
That's a great hypothetical question. So they have to have been retired?
Yes.
Because I'm thinking this movie is not going to be made for the next 4 or 5 years, and I was going to say Messi or Ronaldo. I could totally see Ronaldo doing something like this.
Ronaldo would be the Pelé.
But okay, let's just assume those players are retired. Adam, you go first. I need some time to think about this. Oh, R9.
if I was to take an English guy with a bit of charisma, that could be the Bobby Moore. Somebody like Rio Ferdinand. Just because he's been in stuff before. He was in The Journey, wasn't he? Actually.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Hunter, doesn't he, in one of them? So yeah,
and he's doing a lot now with like game streaming as well, right?
Yeah, so he's somebody that's kind of not afraid to get out, and he does a bit of punditry, but not a whole bunch. So yeah, I'd go Ronaldo, Rio Ferdinand, and I guess I need like one more famous who's on the cusp of retiring, somebody foreign.
Maybe we can just say half of the Bournemouth squad or something.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we'll get
They'll be the
Ronaldo.
like the Ipswich players.
Yeah.
We'll get Fat Ronaldo out as well, and he can like get up to fitness, and then it would be like a great thing of the two Ronaldos being on the same team as each other.
Well, the nice thing is we have Spanx now, so guys can like just have that all tucked in. They won't be running around with the bellies like Michael Caine was.
Yeah, right. Like Michael Caine and Bobby Moore wasn't huge, but he wasn't like in his prime. Yeah, so like, I think Ronaldo wouldn't look at So 2 Ronaldos and Rio Ferdinand are my picks. How about you guys?
Is there an English player that was bigger than Bobby Moore during the Bobby Moore era? Let me ask you that. From a fame perspective.
No. Okay. He was like the guy. And as much as like, because he was kind of, I don't know, a blonde guy, right? Everybody loved him. As much as like Jeff Hurst scored the hat trick when we won, it was still all about him. The iconic picture is him lofting up that trophy. And then he was like, when Brazil, the World Cup in 1970, he was the famous player there. And there was that famous thing where he got accused of stealing some jewelry from a shop.
Yeah. Bobby Moore?
Arrested. Yeah, Bobby Moore. And he got arrested for it and everything. And it wasn't until like, way after the fact that they actually like dropped the charges. There's some conspiracy theories that are kind of
man.
But the fact that happened to him was like the sign of how he's like the cult of him and what he meant. But yeah, there's some conspiracy theories that we played Brazil.
I think I know.
It was a great Brazil team with like Pelé and stuff. So.
I think I know who plays. So I think Wayne Rooney has a spot in this movie when it gets remade.
Yeah. That's a good bet. Yeah.
I think Wayne Rooney's got a spot. I was going to say Bex, but I'm not going to say that.
Too old.
Yeah, I get. Well, Michael Caine, but
I got one. I hope you don't take it.
Yeah, no, definitely Wayne Rooney, because he's still technically playing, but he's kind of playing just because he wants to get into coaching. So Wayne Rooney internationally is the most interesting one. God, a Thierry Henry, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, he's another charisma, right? Like he used to be in a bunch of like TV adverts back home, like for cars and stuff.
Yeah,
and
he spent time at the Red Bulls as well, so he's known in North America.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe somebody who retired, who has a signature goal type. I can see Roberto Carlos with his swerving free kick, so maybe that's one.
Then you got to go back.
That's why Ronaldo's good as well, right? Because of the whole Spartan stance free kick thing.
Okay, yes, sure.
I'm gonna say Ronaldo for the free kick. Zlatan just for the charisma.
Right.
How many years do you think he has left? 2, 3?
Yeah, Zlatan's gonna retire soon.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I don't know, man. It's just a guy that I want like standing in the back as like a character actor is Puyol, just with the giant hair. Do you know what I mean? Just standing in the back and you're like...
he's like the Bobby Moore, just like...
Yeah, who is this guy? Yeah.
Who's an awkward English defender? Honestly, if Harry Maguire was older, I would have just put him back there.
Yeah, good battle. John Terry, put him in there in Gormless.
Yeah.
What about Drogba? Didier Drogba?
No.
Too unknown?
No. Too unknown to the cash. No, I don't know. Yeah, too unknown to the... but then how well known is... Carlos Puyol, right? I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
Take away Puyol. Put in Shakira's husband.
Yes, Jared Piqué.
Everyone's gonna know who that is. And then who are you putting in the Stallone role? Is The Rock too old at this point? Do you get somebody
he's way too old?
Channing Tatum, maybe?
Nah.
He would, because they would write that like bravado a little bit differently these days. They try and put like almost like some like Marvel humor in there, right? And like Channing Tatum would be pretty good at delivering those like wisecracks for sure.
Have you guys seen the Jump Street movies?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just imagine him. Yeah, just imagine him chasing around. Oh, who would the Michael Caine be? But just with his arm out and be like, "Coach, put me in, Coach."
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would Michael Caine be?
I'm old Colin Firth. Too old, but still.
He's too old, too British.
Yeah.
Isn't that the point?
Idris Elba? He's
no, he's too suave, man.
No, Michael Caine was suave, man. He was what's that guy's name? Alfie?
Idris Elba still the sexiest man in the world.
Michael Caine was at too at one point, man.
Yeah. People swooned after him in the Italian Job. He was like a guy who liked fast cars. He was cool.
Let's let Elba focus on the Bond series. And I don't know.
Funny enough, Roger Moore almost played the role of Michael Caine in this movie. Speaking of Bond.
There you go. Maybe
this.
Yeah.
Go for it. Daniel Craig.
Why not?
As the coach?
Yeah, sure.
He's still too fit, man.
Oh, he'll get bigger.
Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. He's already done his turn in Final Score as Dimitri. Get him in for this.
So we're gonna go Pierce Brosnan. Who's the other? I think R9. Every one of us said Fat Ronaldo. And then
Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Because you know why? Like Stallone almost plays. So he's an American that moves to Canada. He almost plays like a Jersey Shore character.
Yeah.
From the TV show.
Yeah. No,
totally.
for sure.
A Jersey Shore guy that moved to Liberty Village is like the perfect
and then got a prison.
2010 analogy. Yeah.
For sure.
2020 analogy. Yeah.
Cool. No, that was a good little I guess thought-provoking question there. Yeah. Do you want to get to footy flicks?
Let's do it.
Let's get into footy flicks. Mark, what are some of your favorite soccer scenes in the movie?
The last game, the stadium. I think honestly, this is, I'm going to say by far the best that we've seen in any of the movies that we've reviewed. Yep. Damn United is very close, but the thing with Damn United is they use actual archive footage.
Yep.
So it's not really comparable. But yeah, I mean, getting actual football players to play football scenes was a stroke of genius. And then the level of authenticity that they put into the stadiums with the Nazi banners, and then actually letting you watch guys play football instead of cutting to their feet and then cutting to their faces and then back to their feet was just a huge nice to have in a soccer movie when every other soccer scene has been crap that we've watched mostly.
Yep.
And then the crowd shots and everything. And then this popped out actually. So Max von Sydow's character, Von Krier, I think his name is, actually stands up and cheers when the Allies score.
Right.
And it pops into my head when I'm watching. I'm like, this is the type of guy that would wear a split scarf of Allies and Nazis. So, I highly rate these scenes, man. I love them. Stallone aside, even how bad that was, I mean, these were still class. So, very highly rated for me.
Awesome. How about yourself, Adam?
I'm absolutely 110% like same page. Like, it's just so refreshing to see a film like it's produced how you would see a football match. Like there were so many wide shots and like long wide shots where you were seeing play build up in a natural way. Like playing out of like you'd see Stallone roll it out to a defender and then the camera would come out and the defender would play it to a midfielder who'd put it out to the wing and stuff. It just looked so good. And like the crowd scenes were all really well done. Like there's no CGI trickery because of when it's filmed. So like it's a actually packed stadium. Like they get Bobby Moore to come up and score like he scores the scrappy goal just before half time to make it 4-1. Ozzy Ardila scores that goal with that cool flick. We get a very little bit of Jenga magic when Pelé scores that bicycle kick and we get like some cool music that kind of comes in, and that's the way to show that stuff better. Like that was cool. It was still realistic. There was no crap going on. He didn't seem like he had magic powers, but it showed off that Jenga style in a great way. I also thought it was pretty funny how the commentator is a British guy, clearly has been brought in by somewhere and is part of the propaganda machine. Because when Germany scores one of his goals, he's like, and the crowd are going wild, and it cuts to the crowd not moving. And then it's kind of, we're getting used to this football in no stadiums, right? So they turn up a volume that kicks in some fake crowd noise, which we've kind of seen in the K-League recently. They play fake crowd songs when there's goals going in. So that's like super cool. Like I really, really like it.
Yeah. Speaking of the Sounders, they were accused of that as well.
Oh, there's a few. Like apparently Tottenham do it at their new stadium. There's a lot of people that have said they've heard sound coming out of speakers. There's some people that say Anfield does like an auto-tuned version of Walk Alone that kind of plays undertone just to keep everybody in tune. Everyone has a little go at it, right? This was full blast, like crowd not moving.
Seems like a very MLS thing to do.
Yeah. But yeah, absolutely loved it. Like the best easily.
Yep.
How about you, Rago?
I'm on the same page too. But yeah, so I'm not going to repeat what you guys just said, but Pelé, every time Pelé took a touch of the ball, especially, I was like, geez, right? Like, it was Messi-esque, right? And my favorite moment, if you want to just narrow it down on one scene, is definitely Osvaldo Ardiles' goal. I think that was just brilliant build-up and brilliant finish.
Yeah. And either way, whether it was like scripted or they told him, hey, do something cool and we'll just record and see what we land with. Like either way, it's so cool.
Yeah, and just by the virtue of how we're talking about, a great build-up and a great finish, it's like, how realistic these scenes were, right? So
they were actually they were choreographed by Pelé.
Oh, wow.
Oh, okay.
It was almost like a fight scene, right? So after he came in, I think he took a look at what they were planning to do, and then he scrapped that and choreographed how it actually should be done, it's amazing, right? You have the resource there, use it.
For sure. Why not? Yeah. Use the experts, right? That's what you should be doing.
You just remind me of a funniest scene early in the film when Michael Caine's talking about tactics, and he's like, right, when you're here, you're going to push it out to the wing, and Pelé takes the chalk off him, and he's like, no, you're going to do this. You're going to go, I'm going to take the ball, and I'll go like this. He just scores like a snaking in and out of the pitch all the way from one end to the other.
Just a zigzag, yeah.
Yeah.
The other really good thing, actually, as well, didn't touch on it, there's really good like talk between the players that feels authentic too. That's where like Bobby Moore comes to life all of a sudden, because he's like, oh, man on, like push it to the wing and all this. It's just super realistic, and we don't see it because we're so used to these, like you said, Mark, these short cuts of players' feet and then their heads, and then it's just, it's really good.
Excellent. Yeah, no, it was great, really good.
Yeah, it really stood out, yeah.
And it culminates as well, right? We didn't really talk about the end, but really the Allied team should have won because they have a goal disallowed later on that should have been a goal, and it gets disallowed for no reason. That would have made it 4-4. And then Pelé scores his bicycle kick to actually make it 4-4.
Yeah.
And then Stallone very unconvincingly saves a penalty at the end. And then there's like a pitch invasion, and then they escape, which is pretty cool because they gave up their other method of escape.
Right.
They escaped to victory.
They escaped to victory, exactly. Exactly. They didn't escape. They didn't escape through the tunnel in the change room, as was the first plan. They escaped with the crowd going out of the stadium. No way for the German army to stop them, because at that point there's so many people that unless you just start shooting everybody, which I wouldn't. But
like Max von Sydow here, he's looking on it and is like kind of impressed. He's like, yep, fair play, guys. Like, you gave us a hell of a game of football despite there being a biased referee and stuff, and you managed to escape. Like, hey, go. He doesn't look like worrying like the other Germans do. He's not worried how this is going to look and stuff, because obviously they set up a propaganda game, and that's become it's going to become propaganda for the Allied forces instead. And he's just like, nah, fair play, lads.
For sure. I think throughout the movie, his character in particular was good. I really liked his character because you could see right from the get-go, right from when the movie began, that he wasn't really a fan of the war. And, he was basically saying at the beginning of the movie that I just wish, nations would settle their disputes on a football pitch, right? Why do so many men got to die? Yeah. He's treating the prisoners of war with respect. You can see he has a twinkle in his eye when they're doing well also, right? Because I guess at some point he probably just looks at it as he has a personal relationship with these prisoners because he talks to them day in, day out. Whereas he may not really even know the German national. Well, they did mention that he was a player, right?
Yes.
But that was a while ago, before the events of the movie. So I don't know. He was proud. I think he was proud of the Allied team.
Yeah. Did you guys know this actor before this film, or have you guys seen him in anything else?
I think I've seen him, but I'm not sure.
I can't remember, but he was in Star Wars, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was in Star Wars, and people were like, "Oh my god!" So is it Sido or Cedo? I think I'm mispronouncing it the entire podcast.
I have no idea, actually. I could be wrong too.
No, all right, so we'll say I'll keep saying Cedo. But yeah, he popped up in Star Wars, and people were like, "Oh my god, wow!" Like, they were able to get this actor for this film, and I was kind of like,
the only other thing I know he's in The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, okay.
Was he the priest?
Can't remember. Yes, maybe. I just know he was in it. I've not watched that. There's a film I've not watched for so long. Like, I watched it as a kid and was freaked out and have not gone back to it.
I saw the re-release in theaters, and I think that was the last time.
Nice. Awesome. All right, guys. So if we were going to rate this movie out of 5 stars, what are we giving it? We'll start with you, Adam, this time.
You know what? I find some little bits of it weird, like as an escape movie. Like I said before, Stallone's like escape bit's kind of lame when he gets out the first time. But on the strength of like the football scenes alone, the feel good, casting real footballers, I'm going to say it's like 4 stars for me.
I did not expect that.
Good. Yeah, 3.5 if I was on a bad day, but now we've talked about the football scenes and feeling enthusiastic about it, I'm going to say 4.
Okay. Yeah, respect. How about yourself, Mark?
I'm also going 4. I really like this movie. Everything was well done in it. I mean, I liked Stallone, so I think that drove it up a little bit higher for me. If I found this character annoying, I wouldn't have gone that far, but it's probably one of the best movies we've seen on the matinee.
Okay,
You?
okay.
Guessing you're not going to be as high.
I'm not going to be as high as a 4. I'm not going to be low, though, so I'm going to give this movie a solid 3 out of 5.
Okay.
3 out of
What
5.
drove it down for you?
So I'm not a huge fan of Stallone. I think some of the scenes were ridiculous. I don't know. It's just, I mean, it was feel good. The football scenes were really good. Some of the dialogue was very amateurish a little bit. And given what we've given other movies, I think 3 out of 5 makes sense, to be honest. It's weighing it up against other movies as well, right? That we've rated on the show. So I kind of want to just keep a consistent scale of how I rate movies, at least.
All right.
Yeah. All right, guys.
Interesting.
You know what? Now you've said that. Yeah, I gave Mike Bassett 4 stars, I think. I don't know if I like this as much as that. Hey, films can still get the same score, but not be as good.
We got to go 10-point scale. Season 2, we'll do 10-point scale.
Yeah, all right. We'll do 10 points.
Halves, I guess halves. We are kind of on a 10-point scale, aren't we?
We'll do.
We go 100-point scale, so you can go 8.1, 8.5.
Let's see.
7.2.
Let's see. Do we go IMDb or do we go Rotten Tomatoes in the scale next year? We can go out of 100 or we can go out of 10. We'll see. Next year. I meant next season.
Next season.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll do thumbs up, thumbs down, and that's
Maybe we'll do thumbs up, thumbs down. Either way, they're going to be ranked somehow, regardless. But that was good. That was a good discussion. So both of you were 4s. I was a 3. But it's now time to move on to trivia. And I will be the quiz master this week. And just to remind everybody about the scores, Adam's in the lead this season so far with 9 points. Mark is in a very close second with 8 points. And I am all the way down in third with only 6 points. We're running out of episodes, and I'm the quiz master this week, so I've really got to pull up my socks and start performing next week. But today it's between Adam and Mark. That's just how it is. And I am going to ask my questions, which are different. They're related to the movies. So basically, I'll just go ahead and ask those. The way this week's quiz is set up is like previous weeks. The first 2 questions will be a question posed to both of you. One of you will answer first, one of you will answer second. And then the third question is kind of a, name the most X, right? And whoever is able to name the most out of the question will win that point. So it'll be like a Family Feud type thing, basically.
You're really trying to make sure we don't get any points this week, huh?
No, actually, see, I think this is pretty easy, man. I actually don't think I picked very hard questions, but I'm going to start. I'm going to start with question number 1.
All right.
And we are going to start with Mark for question number 1.
Okay.
Which other national football team visited Germany in 1938 and gave the Nazi salute along with the Germans? Was it Austria? Was it the United States? Or was it England? We'll go you, Mark.
1938. I'm going to say Austria.
And Adam?
I'm going to say England.
Adam, you knew this. The correct answer is England.
I did. It's a thing that still gets talked about to this day, how it's kind of disgraceful how they were sent there to do it. So,
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, that was I was surprised when I read about that. And I have read about this quite a while ago. And I'm like, England, they're like peak Allied power, right? So
I thought that was an easy question, but yeah, that's weird. That's really weird. I
didn't know that. He had a different policy. He believed in being friends with Hitler. Churchill took over. So
yeah. Anyways, we can move on to question number 2. Now, this has to do with one of the players in the movie. So I'm going to preface it by saying England won the World Cup in 1966. What individual award did Bobby Moore win in 1966? Was it A, Ballon d'Or? Was it B, BBC Sports Personality of the Year? Or was it C, FIFA World Cup Player of the Year? We'll start with you, Adam.
I don't think the Ballon d'Or existed right then. It was that weird thing where it got split. I'm going to say, what was the last one? FIFA World Cup Player of the...
Yes.
No, I'm going to go BBC Sports Personality. Yeah, I can't see how somebody else won it that year. It has to be him.
How about yourself, Mark?
I am going to agree with Adam, BBC Sports Personality of the Year, because I just watched the Bobby Moore documentary a few nights ago. And he didn't win the Ballon d'Or that year. So BBC Sports Personality of the Year.
You guys are both correct. I try to confuse you guys with that question, but with the whole spiel about England won the World Cup in 1966. Right? But no, good. Fair play. You guys got it. All right. Our final question. We'll start with Mark, and then Adam will answer, and you guys will go tit for tat. Trying to play a Family Feud style match here. Name every professional footballer, try to name all the professional footballers that make an appearance in this movie. We'll start with Mark. You name one that comes to your head.
Pelé.
Yourself, Adam.
Bobby Moore.
Back to you, Mark.
The Argentinian guy. I'll just give out the fucking point.
What? No, you got to try, man.
Come on.
God, I'm stuck on the Argentinian guy.
Osvaldo
Aldi.
All right, we'll keep going. Adam?
Bobby Moore with Pelé. Mike Summerby.
Excellent. Mark?
Unknown fact, but Michael Caine actually played as an amateur youth. So
no, it doesn't count. Professional.
That's right.
All right.
No, I'm done.
All right. And Adam was going to get that point anyways after I basically said Osvaldo Ardiles for you. But we got Pelé, Bobby Moore, Osvaldo Ardiles, Paul van Heemst, Kazimierz Dana, Halvar Torrensen, Mike Summersby, Co-Prince, Russell Osman, John Wark, Soren Lindstedt, Kevin O'Callaghan, Robin Turner, and Laurie Savell. So I only know I actually only really know the first two, which is Bobby Moore and Pelé, and then the third one I kind of just found out because of this movie, so I would have failed. But no, that was good. So Adam's our winner.
The only one. Yeah. Mike Summerby's kind of famous. He had a son as well, I think, that played. So.
All right. So this round's champion is Adam again. So Adam, you got all three. And
are you mathematically eliminated, or are you still good?
You got all three right, Adam, I just said. So you're on 12 points. No, I'm not mathematically eliminated. I just have to...
There's 2 weeks left. He could draw level with him.
I could draw level with him. Can you imagine?
Adam.
And you're on 9.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Callaghan, who played the young goalkeeper who had his arm broken in this movie, never played in goal professionally, but he did have a successful career as a winger with Portsmouth.
Ooh.
I thought it was I knew that he was a winger. I think we said that earlier. But okay.
All right.
Never heard of him before my time.
You got to call in these shoutouts for Portsmouth, man.
Yeah. Shit.
People are playing drinking games while listening to the podcast.
It's fine, man. We'll give you a shout out, but you don't get points for that. Awesome, guys. That was a great trivia round.
Thank you.
Congratulations for your knowledge of the BBC Sports Personality of the Year. I wouldn't have got that personally.
Watch that documentary, the one on Amazon Prime. It's really good.
Oh yeah, maybe I'll give it a watch.
Personality of the Year is funny, right? They give it every year, so even if there's been nobody British that's had a decent achievement, they just still have to give it to somebody. So sometimes like a bronze medalist will get it, or it's just like kind of pathetic. But other years has been like an embarrassment of riches, but most years it's like, okay, who the hell are we going to give this thing to?
But you guys have decent athletes in the UK to give it to.
When it's an off year of the Olympics, or the World Championships, like who are they giving? There's nobody doing that stuff.
When in doubt, give it to a footballer, right? Well, what are the parameters to win that? Like, you just got to be a good personality, or you have to win.
It's mostly based on winning.
Yeah.
So, but it also like includes amateur sports, so like Olympics and stuff can win it. Yeah. People that have been like sailed across the world have won it before and stuff. So yeah, it's kind of loose.
Yeah, I mean, when in doubt, just give it to somebody from the English national team, right?
Yeah.
That's it. Anyways, that brings us to the Matchday matinee table. So this should be a good topic of discussion. Mark, would you mind reading out what the current standings are?
Yeah. So after 9 weeks, we're looking at the first place is the Damn United. Second place is Mike Bassett, England manager. In third place is Bend It Like Beckham. In fourth place is Diamantino. Fifth place is Ultras. And sixth is Pelé, Birth of a Legend. Seventh is Final Score. Eighth is Kicking and Screaming. And all the way down in the 12th place, United Passions.
Right. All right. Adam.
Feel bad saying this. For me, it's third above Bend It Like Beckham.
Ooh, hot take.
I know. And I feel bad because, like, I know, like, like, Bend It Like Beckham means a lot to you. And, like, you kind of took that. We talked about it and stuff. And I got the feeling that you, with other people, you might have pushed Bend It Like Beckham above Mike Bassett and you didn't. That's why I feel bad. Like, I feel like almost for you, it kind of deserves its top 3 slot.
No.
I would personally put it above it.
You know what?
But then totally is how you guys feel too, obviously.
Yeah. After having watched Bend It Like Beckham, though, for the second time, I didn't relate to it as much as I did when I was a kid. So I think third is just more for the nostalgic factor. I think Mike Bassett is definitely much better from a football, even relating to football perspective. Mike Bassett is more relatable for me because I mean I grew up watching some of those players that they're trying to imitate right in that movie. So I didn't really have the growing up of just Bamra. But anyways, that's beside the point. Mark, where are you going to place this?
I was dangling it in front of Mike Bassett. Like I was really, yeah, man. I fully bought into this movie. I was like cheering at the end. I had the Nazi ally split scarf waving in the air. I'm going to go third place. Mike Bassett, like it's still so funny and I do want to go back and watch it again. But I really enjoyed this movie more so than Bend It Like Beckham, which is good, but I think that movie's so due for a remake that I just don't see it being better than this film. And this film is finally a good football film after like so many weird movies and kids soccer movies that we've watched and stuff like that. Like it's so nice to get back to like a strong soccer film. I'm going to place this in third.
This is interesting for me because yes, last week I said that Ultras should be ahead of Diamantino. But Diamantino is ahead of Ultras right now. And this movie for me is ahead of Ultras as well. And this is ahead of Diamantino. For me, it's not ahead of Bend It Like Beckham. But of course, I'm willing to concede. It can go in third. That's fine. I think. What else did I give 3 out of 5 to? The Diamantino, I gave 3 out of 5, I think.
Yeah.
And Ultras, I gave 2.5. I don't know, actually. I don't remember.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Because it was like, Mark gave it like 3.5. I think I was 3 and then you were 2.5. Yeah.
Quit bringing that up, Adam. It was a mistake, all right?
I know, like, Ultras is there.
First howler of the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, I can concede it going third just because the football scenes were out of this world.
Yeah.
Right. It was the first movie that I've watched probably ever from a football perspective where I'm like, yes, that's football. They're really playing soccer.
To be fair, though, the football scenes were kind of good in Bend It Like Beckham, right? Because Keira Knightley was pretty good, and then you did have actual pro players playing for that team with her, right?
She's no Pelé, though.
No, she's not. I'm not trying to say she is. I'm just saying that. I don't want to give Bend It Like Beckham like short shrift. Like the football scenes were still pretty good in that.
The best ones were just a pickup soccer in the park. Like aside from that, the actual matches were pretty garbage.
Yeah, no, I'm willing to make this third place as well ahead of Bend It Like Beckham. I think, for the football alone, for the star power. The story is whatever, but yeah, I mean, I even the uniforms, as I was alluding to before. So the Nazi uniforms, the way some of the Allied soldiers were dressed, it was cool, man. It was cool. I wouldn't mind this going third at all.
That was the weird, like you bring up the uniforms, but that was the weird thing about the Nazis, that they had some of the best like fashion designers. They had Volkswagen making their vehicles.
Hugo Boss.
It was just, it's like marketing, right? Like they knew how to market their movement. It's scary. It's just a weird. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's scary. It's more than anything.
Yeah. No. I'm willing to make it above Bend It Like Beckham. I think it's definitely better than Ultras and Diamantino for sure.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. All right. So third place. So that pretty much brings us to the end of our show. Do you guys have anything else to say about Escape to Victory?
No. I'd say it's
Good
worth
movie.
seeking out even in 2020.
Yeah, for a movie that's made in 1981, this is a great watch. I mean, I really enjoyed.
So far.
I really enjoyed the way it was shot with the film that they used and all that. It was nostalgic. It was a good movie. Great actors, great footballers, great football scenes. You can't really go wrong rewatching this movie after a while.
Yeah, don't wait for the remake. Watch the original.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Still
not.
newest.
I think the
one of the
remake's going
remakes.
to be garbage, to be honest.
There's already 3 remakes, so it's not like it's sacred ground that they're walking on. So, yeah.
Well, the actual remake of Escape to Victory, which I'm assuming is going to be from a Nazi prison camp. I think that's what they mean.
They'll do like an Afghanistan camp or something. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? Like I said, end of the show. Adam, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Flameboy84 on Twitter and Joypad Goalposts on Instagram.
And Mark, how about yourself?
Mark83 on Twitter and 83football on Instagram.
Awesome. And myself, I'm Raghav Sandhu. I am actually taking a break off of social media, so you can't find me there. I will be back eventually. I will be back eventually, but if somebody does want to contact me, they can go to matchdaymatinee.com. Simply just go to the contact form and I will get your email. Or likewise, reach out to Adam and Mark. They'll answer any questions related to Matchday Matinee or the Matchday Matinee Twitter handle, which is at Matchday Matinee.
Yeah, on our Twitter, we share a bunch of like news items about soccer movies, some cool culture stuff. So definitely reach out to us.
Well, with that, from the terrace to the theater, we're Matchday Matinee. See you next time.